Hey, we got a great program going on in the state of Rhode Island that you ought to know about. You're going to learn about it tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Lots going on this weekend. Gay Pride celebrations amidst what happened in Orlando this week. We talked about that last night, and if you didn't catch that show, you should look on it at foxprovidence.com and take a look. It's going to be an interesting weekend here, and I hope it's a safe and celebrative weekend. In the meantime, as you might know if you're a regular viewer of the program, on Fridays we tend to just kind of spread out a particular issue, and that's my goal here tonight. We will forego the usual commentary about what's happening in the neighborhood, including budget debates and all that kind of thing. Of course, what I'm most focused on right now is how's my U.S. Open pool going. That's just me. It's my state of mind. Here's the headline that really is a construct for our conversation tonight. Getting jobs for ex-convicts in Rhode Island. Officials tell roadmap to reentry. And Peter Nerona came up with this brainstorm. The U.S. Attorney was here not too long ago and actually talked about this about this subject. That is, reintegrating prisoners into the community because it's best for everybody. And Barry Weiner is the Assistant Director of Rehabilitative Services for our state prison. It is great to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming. This is what does this whole thing do? What do people need to know about what's going on with this idea?
Well, Dan, in the state of Rhode Island, we have approximately 3,000 people a year that get out of the ACI and back into the community. And if you ask those 3,000 people, what do you need? What do you need for successful reentry? The answer you'll get from the vast majority of them is, I need a job. I need a job.
Right. Yeah. And so this is designed to get them a job?
So this summit was an opportunity to get together employers from around the state and share with them the value of hiring ex-offenders into their companies.
So the headline came from the summit conversation. The summit happened last month, correct?
Correct.
And it was who doing what about X?
Well, we had Attorney Nerona, A.T. Wall, the head of the Department of Corrections. We had Governor Raimondo. We had the Attorney General and several others saying, you know, we can't arrest and incarcerate our way to public safety. We really need to take people who are justice involved, people who've made mistakes, people who've served time, they paid their dues, and when they get back into the community, we have to find a way for them to succeed. Because if they don't have a job, they can't support themselves, they can't support the families, and oftentimes they'll resort to a criminal lifestyle once again. So we realized that if we're going to increase public safety, what we need to do is we need to work with people while they're incarcerated with programs, which we do at the ACI, to prepare them for employment. And then when they get out, we need employers willing to give them a chance, an opportunity to work.
It makes perfect sense. So why did it take a long time to get here from wherever we've been? I mean, why doesn't that just make perfect sense to everybody, and why haven't we been thinking that way the entire time?
Well, I think it's the culture here in Rhode Island and frankly around the United States. Some people think a person committed a crime, they need to pay the price, and they don't deserve an opportunity. But the fact is, here in Rhode Island, 1 out of every 3 adults was justice involved at some point in time. So when we think
what does that mean?
What that means is that 1 in 3 adults in Rhode Island were either incarcerated, arrested, on probation, or on parole at some point in their lifetime.
Really?
Really. You know, Dan, if you painted everybody orange in Rhode Island that was involved in the justice system at one point or another in their life, you'd be amazed at how many orange people there would be. And I'm not suggesting we do this, but they're going to be next to you in the supermarket. They're going to be next to you when you pick your children up from school, everywhere.
1 out of 3 people in this state at one time in their lives, either juvenile or adult, have been involved in some kind of criminal justice mishap.
That's correct. You know, in fact, Dan, right
that
now,
that is data that I'm
sit here today,
aghast over.
We have about 24,000 people in Rhode Island who are on community supervision or probation or parole. That's the second highest rate in the entire United States. We have a very, very high population
Why?
of people
Why
on
do we have that?
probation and parole.
Why are we at the top?
Some of that is the laws that we have. And in fact, justice reinvestment, just yesterday in the House and the Senate, there are some bills to reduce the population of people we have on supervision. But we have very long terms of supervision, and we don't have any method to get people off of supervision early, which is something that most states do have.
Well, how do they do it?
They do it with laws that allow for early termination. So if a person is on supervision and they're doing well, they're cooperating fully with the conditions of supervision, they're working, they're leading a law-abiding lifestyle, there's an opportunity for the probation department to go back before the court and ask that the person be terminated. We will now have that as part of the new laws in Rhode Island, which will help us reduce the numbers.
What kind of offenses are we talking about that are most remediable? I mean, it makes sense to me that the less violent the offense, the better the chance that the person who's made the mistake and ended up in the slammer will end up being productive in society, right? Mm-hmm. Yes? But is there a category, or is there anything else surprising about the data regarding that kind of question that people ought to know about?
No, I think there's a whole panoply of offenses. We have people doing time for driving with a suspended license, for not paying fines or restitutions, for some technical violations of probation and parole. The vast majority of people in the ACI are not there for violent crimes, and in fact, they're not different. They've made a mistake in their life.
You drive on a suspended license, you got a good chance of being in the ACI?
Well, usually not the first time,
right.
But if you kind of do that over and over,
if you're a chronic offender.
You can end up there.
Yeah. So we're going to meet a couple of other guests coming up as part of the program. Explain what the program is and what your goals are. Yeah.
Our goals is we understand that for returning citizens, people getting out of prison, to be successful and law-abiding and support their family, not commit more crimes, because they commit a crime and come to jail, it's very, very expensive. It averages about $50,000 a year.
To us.
To us as taxpayers.
Right, yeah.
That we need for these folks to be working productively. So in the ACI, we provide a whole variety of programs to help people with their employability. Everything from adult basic education on through college courses. We have vocational courses, correctional industries, everything to try to prepare a person for release. Then when they get out, though, they have to fill out those applications, and there are employers out there that make a decision whether or not to consider somebody who's been justice involved. We're here, part of this program is to encourage employers to look at the advantages and the positive part of hiring folks that were justice involved.
When they leave, do you just cut the cord?
We don't just cut the cord. We have discharge planners at the ACI who follow individuals for a few months prior to their release. And then the vast majority of individuals who are released to a term of probation or a term of parole. So they're immediately assigned a probation officer. In fact, the probation officer comes into the prison before they're released to establish that relationship. And they follow these individuals to help ensure their success.
Are you working in this direction with every inmate, or are there certain categories of offenses that just don't qualify?
Yeah. Well, we can't work with everybody because we're not that resource rich. And as I said earlier, about 3,000 people a year are released. So what we do is we have a risk assessment tool that can actually predict the risk of someone reoffending. And we devote our efforts to working with those people who have a high risk of coming back. Many come to the ACI, they're there once.
A high risk of coming back? Oh, no, so you're working on those that you think might reoffend to get in the workplace so they don't reoffend?
Correct. There were many individuals that come through the ACI, they made a mistake, maybe it was even their first mistake. They've done their time, they're going to get out, they're going to be fine, they're not going to get in trouble. We don't need to spend a whole lot of our resources with them.
Oh,
so the higher the risk, the more resources we put into those individuals.
All right, so we've got a representative of one employer that's cooperating with the program, correct?
Correct.
And we will meet him when we come back, and also a participant in the program, and tell us about her experience. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in. We had a guest, Jeff LaValle, who's from Pet Food Experts. He's the Regional Director of Operations. We put the headline up one more time, or another one. We've got a couple that talk about this new program that is happening out of the ACI, trying to get folks who are inclined to maybe reoffend, to think differently about their lives when they leave. Barry just explained most of the program to us. Jeff, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Dan.
You're doing what with the program?
We have a long relationship with the prison system. It originally predated my employment with Pet Food Experts. We started working with the work release program. It was based on need. We needed workers. We needed them quickly, and through a gentleman, Peter Jackson, out of P&M Recycling in Woonsocket, we reached out to him. He had some success with working with people through work release. So we started our relationship back then with Ernie Myers through the outreach program and the probation program with the local prison system. And over time, our relationship has evolved into more of a post-incarceration program where we're working with people on parole and on probation.
All right, so your instinct was, look, we need some manpower. This is a place where we can get it. Obviously, negotiations with employees coming out, potential employees coming out of the ACI are probably balanced in the company's favor, it seems to me. So your instinct is probably pretty good there. But you're running counterintuitive, I think, to what most employers would think about folks coming out of the ACI, right? You see the value.
Yes.
You saw the value before the program.
Yes.
We'll talk about the program and have you and Barry discuss some of these issues real quick here, but did your instinct match your hopeful
Honestly, Dan, when I
outcome?
first started, I was apprehensive in my position
Yeah.
as manager at the time. I had not worked in an industry where we had people on work release or people coming in from parole. My feelings have evolved over time. When I first took this position, I would look at two resumes, and if I had somebody that had been in prison and someone that hadn't been, I was leaning more towards the person that hadn't been.
Well, duh.
But there was my prejudice until I actually got to meet these individuals. There's a lot that's involved when you're taking somebody on that's coming through the prison system. A lot of these men and women haven't had any type of job experience. A lot of the guys that I've worked with now were incarcerated at a relatively young age, have never had a legitimate job. So you see the development in them and the mentoring that you do with them, and you see how they take to that. You know, you show a little bit of interest in them. It's a little bit of a long road to get them to where you want them to be. It takes a little bit more than the average worker, someone that has work experience history, but the loyalty factor is through the roof.
Really?
We ran some reports through the summit on the average tenure of someone who was working at Pet Food Experts, and the average tenure was 4 years. And for people that have been incarcerated before, 6.5 years. So they do stay
Wow.
longer. I think they do appreciate the loyalty. They do appreciate the chance of opportunity, the chance to grow with the company, and it's part of the business decision to invest in these people to keep that dedicated and loyal employee.
So, Barry, I can see why Jeff is an asset to you. Not only are you brainstorming from ground zero from the U.S. Attorney, but this is a guy who's already doing it before, right?
Correct. Jeff is one of several individuals who have taken a chance and have had successful results. And it was our hope that Jeff would share his experience with others
Yeah.
so that they can see the value.
Well, has it worked? I mean, have you convinced other corporate types to say, hey, by the way, this is a real fertile ground for employment?
Well, we would hope so. With the summit that we had back in May with local hiring leaders, human resource directors, hiring managers, the program that was put together then was helped to probably make people feel a little bit easier about the decision. You know, a lot of the panel discussion we were on, if you're just coming from the inside and you're looking at why would I hire someone that's been previously incarcerated, I think there's a fear factor with a lot of people. Like, what does that mean to me? Am I on the hook? What kind of employee am I bringing into my workforce?
Right.
And that's why I think the summit was so much support was given to the background, not just, as you said, you just cut the cord with these people, not by a long
Well,
shot.
what do you do with the average application? If I'm not, I haven't filled out an employment application in decades, but I'm guessing they still say, "Have you been convicted of da da ba ba ba?"
Well, they actually don't.
We've changed that.
We have
law.
the ban in
That's
the
right.
box law.
My bad.
So
Okay.
it's no longer on the application, but the topic comes up then later on.
Well, yeah, you can't put in the application, but you're allowed to ask.
Correct.
Right. Got it.
Correct.
I knew that. Sorry. If I'm an employer, I don't know if I'd ask. I'd ask enough questions to see if I could hint around whether or not I need to ask.
Yeah.
You know?
And we found what most employers want is they want someone who's going to show up every day, someone who's going to be reliable, be loyal, and do a good job for them. And if the applicant has a history of that or can convince them of that, that's often more important than what their background was or some act that they might have committed 10 years ago.
Are the kinds of employees that you've had experience with the same kind of discharged prisoners that Barry's talking about? In other words, he's got a way to measure who's got a better chance at recidivism. Is the data matching up?
Yes, it is. We work very closely with the federal probation department now, and they have the same type of guidelines and data that they use. So we have someone who is recommended to come to us. What happens usually is somebody from the probation department will call us up and say, I have a great candidate. He thinks his skill sets and his desire to succeed may work well with your department. And we'll interview them. We'll bring them in and, to get a feel for that person.
All right. What's the rest of corporate Rhode Island doing here?
Well, Dan, I can share with you, since the summit, we've received several calls from employers telling us, we were there, tell us some more about it. And we've actually placed
Toes in the water.
Placed a couple of individuals in jobs already with the help of the partnership of the Department of Labor and Training. They're involved too. They're actually coming inside our walls and helping us connect individuals with jobs in the community. So we want to continue the momentum, get people ready, get the employers interested, make those connections, help businesses be profitable and be successful.
All right, let's get a real life story when we come back. Don't go anywhere. So we're talking about this program, Roadmap to Reentry, out of the ACI. It's brand new, but employers like Jeff have, instinctively decided that the prison population is actually fertile ground for excellent employees. Crystal Jaguar is from Woonsocket. You got jammed up for robbery in 2009, correct?
Correct.
And you're out in 2015, so you did 6 years.
Yes.
You're working where now?
Champ's Diner. It's a restaurant on Front Street in Woonsocket.
All right. And you didn't necessarily get the job through this program because it's brand new. But there was a program inside the ACI that helped you.
Correct. The
right?
hospitality class that I took, the woman that was teaching it contacted me and told me about a new business that would be opening in Woonsocket, and she felt like I would be a great candidate.
Did you have to talk about the robbery in your process?
Actually, no. I did not have to,
If I'm an employer, I'd want to know.
Well, yes. Prior.
As a host, I want to know.
Prior.
What'd you rob?
Oh my God.
What'd you rob?
It was a convenience store.
Yeah, okay. You're sorry for that.
Definitely sorry.
All right. Life circumstances caused you to make a bad decision.
Substance abuse.
Okay. You're clean now?
Absolutely.
You got clean in the ACI?
Correct.
They helped you with that?
Yes, there's many recovery programs that you could participate in.
Was it a productive? I mean, my God, I can't imagine what 6 years in jail feels like. Tell me what it felt like.
Well, actually, it was an intervention on my life because the way I was going, I was either going to end up dead or possibly hurting somebody else. I mean, I've learned so much. I went to jail a child and I came out a woman. I've learned so much within them years with the support of the SEALs, the counselors, the programs they provide. I mean, I got my college education inside the walls.
You see this a lot?
Yeah,
This attitude? This refreshed look on life?
Absolutely. The strong desire to succeed. And that's why they are sometimes more successful than the average applicant. They realize that they have another chance at life and they're going to do as well as they can with the opportunity that's given to them.
You hear Barry and Jeff talk about this population coming out of the ACI. Frankly, I didn't realize how many ratioed people in society actually have gotten mixed up in the justice system, right? The old phrase, kids are people too, well, prisoners are people too, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I'm guessing that's what you want to tell everybody.
I believe everybody deserves a chance and anybody could change.
And you changed. Why? You told me how, but why?
I didn't want to live the way I was living. You know, I felt hopeless. I felt worthless. Like I was never gonna amount to anything. You know, depression. So many issues that, you know, the substance abuse mixed with, you know, life on life terms was just, couldn't handle it.
So when you go into work every day now at the diner, is every day meaningful to you?
Absolutely. I wake up with a sense of purpose, knowing that I'm responsible, knowing that somebody counts on me to take care of the diner, you know, and it's not, I don't feel obligated. I feel like it's my duty to take care of my job. Like,
do you feel like you need to represent a prison population that is misunderstood and now represented by this kind of formal program? In other words, do you feel? I mean, listen. I mean, it's not like you went to a university and say, "Hey, I'm a URI Ram. You know, I'm not an ACI grad. You know, it's just boom, bam. There's no football team, right?" But you come out of there. Do you come out of there with a sense of responsibility to kind of make a statement about the idea that you can make a mistake, do some time in jail, and still succeed?
Absolutely. It was my first time being incarcerated. I've never had any altercations with the law. My first crime ever. I got 9 years to serve. My first charge. Was it severe? Yes. Was it me? No.
Are there others back that you left at the jail that you think also deserve an opportunity? Did you meet good people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very intelligent people.
So this program's no joke to you.
No, absolutely not.
It's a real learning lesson, huh?
It is, Dan. There's a lot of people that you meet as you go through these programs who have life circumstances that you may not relate to in your own life, and as many people as Mr. Weiner says, you know, I have been incarcerated in the state. I don't know that many myself. I can't put myself in their life situations, but you know, you have a little bit of empathy with what they're going through.
It also takes a little bit of fear of the population, the non-incarcerated population, the anxiety for people like Crystal. You make people anxious. You went to jail. You robbed their convenience store. It takes the temperature down a little bit, right?
Yes, it does.
For everybody.
Yes.
All right. It sounds like a great program. Well, congratulations on your instinct, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you very
Seems
much.
to me you ain't going back.
No.
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 Can I get a good meal at the diner?
Yes.
We'll be over.
719 Front Street.
Just down the
Diner.
road from me. Congratulations. What a great
Thank you.
program. Final word when we come back. Stay with us. That's a great program. I don't know how you deny that's a great program. And you know, the biases that we have for all sorts of people in our world today have to include prisoners. And I would be lying if I didn't, have a built-in one to see real life, happening for people who've done their time and have plenty of time to think about what they've done in the past. I think it's just some perspective. So great stuff. Coming up on the Monday program, Sean Daly, Sean, the outstanding journalist, has some really nifty ideas about the future, what he wants to do and how he wants to impact the community. I think you'll enjoy the Monday program. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the weekend. Good night.